For 104 years, success starts at Saratoga. Offering the highest concentration of quality of any U.S. yearling sale, Saratoga is ranked number 1 by percentage of Grade 1 winners. Recent stars include Preakness Stakes winner Journalism, Eclipse champion and Breeders' Cup Classic victor Sierra Leone, and Grade 1 winners Kings Barnes. And one more time, to Penn Street and seize the gray. The 104th Saratoga sale, August 4th and 5th in Saratoga Springs, New York. Where will you be?
Welcome back to the Horse Races Now podcast. So, Kenny, your Japan trip had all kinds of people interested. We got a ton of views, a lot of comments. People love seeing Swiss Skydiver.
As we did too.
Yeah, I bet. Seriously though, a lot of comments, a lot of people just talk about what a remarkable horse. One of these comments was, let's see, privileged enough to see her at Magdalena Farms. One of them says, as I recall, she was 1-14 at one point. Is that right?
What's that mean?
That doesn't make sense. Oh, odds were 1-14, and they didn't bet her, and they were mad at themselves. Okay, there's a lot of comments about people just loving that horse. What an awesome horse, beautiful horse. I loved how she interacted with Annie. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, the curl in her lip.
Yeah, super cool.
Quite happy to see Annie, especially. Annie fed her since she was 3 or 4 years old. So, yeah, that was great.
So what's going on, man? Where are you at today?
I am in Saratoga Springs, New York. I flew back from Japan into Saratoga, and we are at the stable here at Saratoga Springs on the other side of Fifth Avenue. And today starts the phasing Tipton yearling sale, so I've got to start working that when I get off the phone with you all.
Yep.
And it's pretty much status quo. We've been staying busy. We had a nice winter in Virginia day before yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yesterday we didn't run anything, and then today we've got a couple of runners here at Saratoga. Couple of scratches too. One filly tied up, and another filly got a little cut on her leg, so we were forced to take them out. But pretty much steady as it goes, uncomplicated. It's that time of year, and welcome to August. Although the weather appears fantastic, it was 60 earlier this morning. For those that are caught in the heat wave, apologies, right. But we're very fortunate. And this is the reason why you come to Saratoga Springs, is because the weather is so much kinder to the horses during the heat wave of the summer.
Makes sense.
And I do think that they benefit, especially going into the fall, by a nice, cool summer.
Anybody we need to bet on today?
Well, I think tomorrow we've got a horse named Blackout Time that's probably a great play. And we've got another one named JJ Gray running at Colonial that's a great play. Golden Eye can win the third race here at Saratoga. And then we've got a horse named Supreme Good that's running a little bit later today. That's a 2-year-old first-time starter that we're excited about. So
okay.
We've got a lot of bullets in the gun.
Oh, a lot of good horses running, Kenny. I like it.
A lot of good horses.
Like it, man. You gave our listeners some good info there. All right. Okay, so listen, Saratoga, obviously this is a little bit more of the down season, but I want to talk about one of the biggest days in horse racing, at least for our area. There's a lot of people in this Louisville, Kentucky area, and I don't want to get too local because we got a lot of national listeners, but obviously the Churchill Downs is where we host the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby. Well, Churchill Downs had recently mentioned that they're going to move the Oaks to night racing. So the whole thing is shifting back a lot later. The community here is just up in arms. The restaurant community, all the different nonprofits who have their events that Oaks Eve or Derby Eve night. What's your take on all this?
I might be stuck in the middle, but I can give you viewpoints of all of it.
Okay.
The Kentucky Oaks is not getting any attention. It's been shown over the last several years on the NBC Sports channel, which is really not a very large market.
Right.
And I think they actually discontinued that channel altogether. I thought it was quite frustrating to try to even watch the Kentucky Oaks the way they had presented it in years past, and I think that it's detrimental to the viewership that the way they did it in the past. So I do think that they need to make some changes. I find, the prime time an interesting concept. It will probably definitely be an upheaval of change for everybody. And then, yeah, I can definitely see where, the local community and everybody kind of has their plans. And, there's the Barnes Stable Brown party.
Yeah.
There's parties that have gone on for decades on Friday night, and
Right.
there's dinner scheduled on Friday night.
Right.
I myself prefer racing during the day.
Yep.
I actually have always said that I think that the way they do it actually the English Oaks and the English Derby, they're short race days. I want to say they start at 2:00 and they're done by 5, and then everybody you can have a nice lunch, you can go to the races, and you can have a nice dinner. I'm not a fan of these long, really long race days. I mean, 14 races, 12 races is too many. I prefer quality over quantity, but I'm not managing anything, and certainly don't have any input on any of this. But as horsemen, I do think we needed more visibility of the Kentucky Oaks, so I do understand the reasoning on moving it.
So the reason is to move it to later, so primetime TV. It sounds like the Oaks is going to be under the lights. Does that make a difference for a horse?
None whatsoever. It's night racing's fine. We tried to promote racing more night. Although when I was a young trainer, I think night racing is, in some ways, a lot of younger people come out, but the question is how much do they actually bet?
Right.
And so there's kind of a catch-22 there. But
that's interesting. So it's more of a party and less of a gambling situation.
Yeah,
interesting.
Like I said earlier,
okay.
I'm a day racing guy. When I first started going to the races as a kid, they typically ran Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Keeneland, and their pattern was very predictable, which I think people like predictability.
Mm-hmm.
They ran at 1 o'clock, 1:32, 2:33, 3:34, 4:35. So you had 9 races.
Okay.
We had one bottom of the hour, top of the hour, bottom of the hour until 5 o'clock, and then that was that. And we didn't run on Sundays at all, which I think is out of respect for the church community. I've always been a fan that Sundays should be respected. And but once again, people are trying to promote and grow horse racing, so they're going to do what they can to try to expand it. So, look, they maybe they'll start a nice trend where people really start following the Kentucky Oaks on Friday nights before the Derby.
Yeah, that's interesting. But, there's just so many dominoes that fall there. For example, the kids that go to school in Louisville, Kentucky, they're out on Oaks Day. Maybe that's not a thing anymore. I mean, obviously, if it doesn't start until well after kids are out of school, maybe that's kids go to school again that day. It's interesting. And then there's a lot of nonprofits that count on that Derby Eve night to raise a lot of money. There's a lot of good that's done there. So I can certainly see the issues that have arisen. But I see what you're saying too, that it's a way to grow the sport. What do you mean when you say it's been tough to watch in the past?
Well, if you sat down and really wanted to watch the Kentucky Oaks in the years past, let's say you were at home just as a fan trying to watch it, it was nearly impossible to watch. If you didn't subscribe to the NBC Sports Channel,
gotcha,
you couldn't watch. If you didn't have an ADW app, you couldn't watch.
Got it.
For me, it was as if we didn't want people to watch.
Got it.
So I don't know what the investment's being made for them to pay. Is it ABC, NBC? Who's doing it? NBC?
I think it's NBC.
For them to pay NBC to show it would hopefully get more viewership, but it was practically invisible prior to that.
Yeah,
and it's such a great race. And It's basically the Phillies Derby.
Yeah.
And nobody was watching, and that's not good. And I keep going back to one of the reasons why we created horse races now is if you can't grow a sport if you don't show a sport. And so I do think that their mindset's correct and put it in a position where people can actually would watch it and might possibly even enjoy it. And so fingers crossed that happens, and hopefully it's on their prime, main NBC channel. Maybe that spot opened up and they took it.
Yeah, I mean it would have to be, honestly. I mean, to make that work. And listen, I think these parties and whatever else, they're just going to have to figure out other times during that weekend to make something happen. From your schedule, Kenny, does that make things a little more daunting? Because let's say the year that you've got horses running in both, you're going to have to be there pretty late on Oaks night and then turn around and probably have a pretty early Derby morning. That makes it for probably a tougher weekend, right?
Well, I would think, what's the predicted post time? Did they say?
I think 9.
9 o'clock.
I think I could be wrong. Let me see if I can look that up while we're talking here. But
but 9 would be later than normal. But typically we ran Oaks Day and we would find some place for dinner and then we would maybe we weren't home by 9, but wasn't much later than that. I can tell you that. I would hope that the race would be run around 7 or 7.
I'm sorry. Normally, normally post time is right before 6. Now it'll be sometime between 8 and 9 p.m.
No, that's relatively late. But look, horsemen adapt. I mean, we deal with it all the time. I mean, we deal with night racing. We deal with sometimes they start at 10:30 in the morning, but we will adapt. I mean, our job will be the same. I mean, I typically didn't go to any of the parties anyway. I went to the ones that I had time for, but Friday night was typically out. But that's definitely going to be disruptive, and change is always hard to take.
It is.
I'm not sure I know the answer other than that nobody was watching before. I mean, I really felt like that the Kentucky Oaks was being. It was kind of the left out in the dark stepsister, and they weren't really getting the eyeballs. So if they're making an effort to get eyeballs, then you can't begrudge them for that. So, and at the same time, change is hard to take. So, as we keep talking, this show in itself is to help grow the sport.
Right.
So we've got to think of ways to grow the sport. Myself, our product, Horse Races Now, we need every racetrack out there that's willing to put their video on YouTube, to deliver us their video on YouTube, because we can't afford to pay streaming costs, or the company that's streaming their video, tell them you'll pay our streaming costs and we will show it. We would love to show the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby on our product.
Sure.
But we'll be blocked from doing that. I don't understand all the back politics of all that so much, as people are very proprietary of their content, and they want you to watch on where they want you to watch. But the more people that watch is what's more important, and then subsequently the more people that bet, and that's really what they want.
So the press release says the move is intended to give the race a national primetime platform and reach a wider audience. Exactly what you're saying. What do you say to Jeff Ruby or some of these other restaurant owners that are just say it's a slap in the face?
Well, stay open Thursday night, because there'll be plenty to do on Thursday night and Saturday night.
The whole week has grown and grown and grown over the years.
Look, it's a continual party. Maybe some of those events need to move to Thursday night, and that wouldn't be a terrible thing either. And then people could enjoy the races on Friday and Saturday. It makes for a longer weekend, but a longer weekend is, some people are into that.
Yeah.
That Thursday night would be the night for the dinners, and Friday and Saturday are the days for the races. And the days are so long anyway that it's such a stress physically to try to do it all, that maybe having these events on Thursday night's not a terrible idea.
Yeah.
We trainers dinners usually on Monday or Tuesday.
Right.
I'm sure there's events on Thursdays too, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, look, the world will adjust, I suppose, and they will figure it
I
out.
do think it'll grow the sport. It is good, and I just read it will be on NBC network prime time. So I mean, it's going to be on the big boy channel. I mean, that'll get more eyeballs on the sport for sure.
Yeah.
Now,
for
is
sure.
is that the biggest race for fillies?
Yeah, for 3-year-old fillies, yes, in the nation.
And so there's nothing, a Breeders' Cup or really anything else that trumps the Oaks.
Not for straight 3-year-old fillies.
Okay.
Remember, it's only 3-year-olds. It's not 3-year-olds and up.
Okay.
For example, Torpedo Anna wasn't eligible this year because she won it last year.
Right.
It is the premier 3-year-old filly event. There are others. The Fantasy in Arkansas, I want to say they've jumped their purse structure up. And then here in New York, we're still running 3-year-old fillies. The Alabama runs a little bit later in this meet, and the purse on that, I want to say 600,000 this year. I've got the book here in front of me. This is the Saratoga condition book.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but that's a premier race too. Run over a little bit further distance than the Kentucky Oaks. It's run over 1.25 miles as opposed to 1.125 miles of the Kentucky Oaks. Yeah, the Alabama is 600,000, whereas the
that's pretty
Kentucky
good.
Oaks is 1.5 million.
Okay. All right. Well, so there's a pretty big difference there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, listen, I think you have a pretty good take on that, Kenny, and it makes sense to me hearing what you had to say. Ultimately, it's about growing the sport. And, I think to your point, everything else will adjust from there. So,
Yeah, you hope.
So, all right.
Yeah, it should.
So let's talk about a couple of our sponsors here, Kenny, which is kind of cool. First is Fasig-Tipton. So you said you're working their I guess it's their August sale. What are you looking for? What's next? Is there certain price ranges you look for in there? Is there certain horses that are bred from certain mares that you're looking for? Is there anything in particular you're looking for this year?
This is probably the premier yearling sale in North America. This is a select sale, selected yearlings. We're going to sell on the 4th and the 5th of August, so we've got a few days here. But some of the best horses in racing come out of this sale, and Sierra Leone, Journalism both came out of this auction.
Okay,
it's a kind of a who's who auction, and over the decades, there's been a world of good horses that come out of here. Now, that being said, it's the priciest sale of the year, too. And the average yearling price is going to probably be anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000 for the sale. And so you've got to really, really hard to find value. I'm a value player, shopper. It's not been a sale that I have been, regularly participating in at a high level. And yet I've got people that are coming in that my job's to do the work and sort through them. And we'll take this. Let's see, there's 222 yearlings being offered, and we will cull them down into probably 15 or 20 that I look at on the physicals and possibly recommend. And then you've got to see whether the market's fair on those or not.
Will you look at all 220 and decide?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look at every horse. Love doing it.
So you dive into that. Now, I'm assuming you have owners that come in and say, here's our price range. Let's find the best. Or do you buy them and then find owners? Or a little bit of both?
Yes and yes. I have been known to buy and then worry about it later. But up here, it's a high-end market, and you sticking your neck out on a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 yearling without a client is not something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I'd rather have somebody that was ready to play and allow them to cover the cost right away. But the biggest thing is get the work done and then worry about it after that, and that's what I've always done.
Do you have owners this year that are ready to play that you're going out?
Yeah, I've got several that are going to be here in town, and they're going to be eyeballing what they're after. And there's I'm going to be consulting for some high-powered people this week too.
Nice.
I'm not privy to say who, but
Okay.
they're asking for my opinion on this group, and
I bet.
will be for the rest of the year. And then it looks like I'm going to go to the French sale. I'm going to go to France on the 13th of August to about the 19th, and I'll be working that. That's a really good sale, Arcana. But in the meantime, this sale and also the New York bred yearling sale will be the focus here for the next several weeks.
All right. So for our listeners who have seen the ads and obviously have heard us talk pretty in depth about Phasic Tipton, can you just show up? Yeah, I guess if you're trying to just get into this game, what are the credentials you have to come to something like this?
Well, you have to apply for credit. The wise thing is to find somebody to represent you so that you don't go in there and buy the wrong horse. And then typically Phasic Tipton's going to want to vet you out, and Keeneland will definitely want to vet you out. Make sure that you have the money in the bank, and in some cases, Keeneland might even ask for the money to be deposited prior. Or Phasic, because I've had regular clients, they know me and trust me. But it is, if you're new to the game, it's a good idea to get registered and get your all your I's dotted and T's crossed pre-sale. And there's a section in the catalog here, and I believe this is online. And I'll look at the index real quick and see if I can find it. Authorized of agent, definite credit application, agent information. There's online bidding, repository information. There's all the terms that you need to, or the legalese that you need to deal with. But Phasic Tipton's a fantastic company in there, but they will definitely there's a credit application, agent application. They're all right here in the book, but that's easy enough to get done. But anybody that's going to attend this should get ahead of it and do it not only several days in advance, but probably several weeks. And Keeneland would expect the same type of information.
Do you see new people getting in the game, Kenny, or is it the same old faces?
No, for sure. I mean, we've got a gentleman flying in who watched the Netflix series. It's
awesome.
Going to walk around with me and get an idea of market and how he might want to participate. And so that will be interesting. And then, from my perspective, I'm a little different because of Oaks Derby and then the Netflix series. It's we're definitely in growth mode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we are busy trying to make sure that we have all our team strong as anything, because more horses is not a problem as long as we've got a great team to handle them.
So you said the average is 300,000 to 400,000. What's the bottom? What do you think the cheapest horse is going to go for?
100 to 200.
Oh, so that's the bottom. So it's not like 20, 30,000.
No, you won't see a horse sold for less than 100. At the Japanese sale, I think the cheapest horse I saw sold was 180.
That's incredible. And then the numbers were really high there, right? The top end were crazy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We bought a horse named Instant Impact here last year for 200, and put a group together with my racehorse.
Okay.
He was a good physical, but he wasn't the pedigree that maybe jumped off the page, but a lovely horse in his own right.
Interesting. It's pretty cool stuff. Well, obviously, we'll be kind of interested in what happens there, and we'll obviously make sure we keep our listeners informed with how things go with you at these sales. The other one, and you're going to see an ad here shortly for this, but we've got a new sponsor, which we're super excited about, Hallway Feed. Talk to us a little bit about that, Kenny, because I know you have some history there.
Lee Hall and I are longtime friends, and I have used Hallway Feed my entire career pretty much. Lee put this together. It's a premix, and you basically drop it and feed it, and it's got all the vitamins and all the supplements and everything you need in there. You don't really need to add much to it. It's a excellent feed. It's high energy. The horses like it. They eat really well on it. It's good for their stomachs, and we've had huge amounts of success racing with Hallway Feed, and it's something I'm very proud to have been a part of for all these decades.
So this is a very novice amateur question here. Is there a ton of different feeds out there?
Yeah, there are. There really are. Years past, you used to have to mix sweet feed and oats, and then you'd have to find.
You had to make your own mix, right?
Yeah, and you mix your own percentages. You'd have to add all the supplements, all the electrolytes. I suggested at one point to Lee, if you put it all together and you had the right mixture, then it would make my job a lot easier. And then didn't have to worry about different divisions feeding different ways. Mm-hmm. And the consistency is what I like.
Right.
Is that every bag of Hallway is consistent, and you know what you're going to get, and then you drop it, and the horses. Then your concern is only the amounts. How much feed you're giving becomes the concern as opposed to the mixing.
And you had a lot to do with the current formula at Hallway, right?
Well, I just simply gave Lee the notion that, hey, it'd be great if they put this together.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And he's the one who took me. You can take an idea and do nothing with it, no problem. But we talked about the idea, and then he took the initiative and did it. And he's done a fantastic job. And today Hallway is probably the most sold racehorse feed worldwide. It's not unusual for them to send plane loads to Dubai, Saudi Arabia. Their success has been amazing to watch.
Awesome.
And they're based right there in Lexington, Kentucky, right in downtown.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's cool. Mm-hmm. It seemed like it's a pretty decent sized operation, is what it seems like.
No, beyond decent size. They're very, very complicated. Lee gave myself and my daughter a tour last several years, and to see the equipment and the whole process is pretty amazing. They've got the mill is it's a well-oiled machine.
It's not a job, it's a way of life. We know. At Hallway Feeds, we've worked for generations to advance equine nutrition, because watching them at their peak is like nothing else. With Hallway Feeds, the race is in the bag.
All right, Kenny, I've got two questions to get to here. And I don't know how long these will take. These will probably be pretty quick. But all right, so first one. I've noticed some horses have the case of coming in place or show and just like running with their buddies instead of trying to win. Is there a race strategy or training equipment / meds to overcome this besides trying different distances, surfaces, and dropping class? You ever seen that before?
Sometimes you get a horse that just doesn't like to win, that they will run in the pack. And then the best thing you can do there is match them with workmates and then teach them to win. Now, sometimes they do. They're pack runners. Some horses just don't have a lot of desire. And you can sometimes see that in the field where a horse will kind of lope along. And then you'll see a horse in the field that won't let another horse pass and always has to be in front. And I do think that's kind of an innate quality that you can't really measure, that it's like people. Some people have an enormous amount of try and lack talent, and some have a huge amount of talent but lack the effort. And you can have that happen with ball players too. Guy might have the greatest physical body ever, but if he doesn't have the heart of a lion, then it's difficult to get him to win. But with racehorses, there are all kinds of things you try. Sometimes blinkers work, sometimes they don't. I've actually found that blinkers aren't a big help. You want a horse that looks another horse in the eye and utilizes their competitive spirit. More than anything, don't overmatch them in the morning. That's the biggest thing.
Have you ever seen a horse just upset, pissed it didn't win?
I think Torpedo Anna was furious the day that
I was going to say.
the day she got mugged at Churchill, she came back and she was angry.
Yeah. See, I wondered about that.
She was so mad, and it just wasn't her day. And for me, it was a really rough day, but we went to the barn to see her after she ran, and she was not happy. She was just, and that's, just her heart of a lion.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Or heart of a grizzly, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, she really did care about winning, and you could see it afterwards.
Okay, so this next question, I don't think English is the first language, so I'm going to try to make my way through it here. Basically, they're asking, and I think it has to do with the race you just talked about with Thorpinoana. This particular opinion thinks that the schooling or something was done wrong in the starting gate, because I don't know, did she break last?
No, she was in good position going into the first turn.
Well, that's right. Then she got hit. Okay, well, let me ask you this then. If a horse is to break last out of the gate, is it normally game over?
No, not necessarily. It depends on the jockey and whether he stays patient or not. Sometimes horses do get off slow, and when that happens, they need to not overdo it early. But it's all about timing and pace and finish. So, it really depends on the situation, but you'll depend on a Brian Hernandez to make sure that that everything goes smoothly. But that's it happens. Horses break bad. It happens all the time.
Any jockeys you've been using lately that have impressed you?
Well, we're in a routine up here in New York with Kendrick Carmouche and his agent, Jimmy Riccio. And Jimmy's got a young rider named Luis Rivera, who I'm giving some mounts to. And then Christopher Elliott, which is Stuart Elliott's son. We're giving some mounts to Chris as well. I'm just trying to find a rider that we can get in a nice rhythm with for the summer and into the fall. And, kind of excited about it.
Makes sense. All right, Kenny, that's all I have for today. I do want to encourage our listeners to send us questions. Send us your thoughts. We love to incorporate those into the show. So send us what you got. Comment on our YouTube channel. Send it to the email. Send it to Horse Races Now. Whatever works for you, but send those questions. Kenny, anything else before we get out of here?
No, everybody keep pushing the thought that we can get racetracks to give us more video content, all the better. We want to show racing worldwide on Horse Races Now, and we appreciate everybody's support. Apologies for the advertisements, but that's what we have to do. And opt out of the advertisements. It really helps us. It gives us $7 a month when you opt out of the ads. Mm-hmm. $7 a month is enough for us to keep our lights on and help pay our coding. It's a very expensive company to keep together. It loses money every month. Don't get the notion that we make money. Yeah. And the only one's making money is Teague. Yeah. Teague's making all the money here.
That's right. All the money's coming to me, Kenny. I wish I would listen to you on some of these betting tips. I would have made some money. I haven't done that yet, but I need to start listening to you.
I don't want you to get a gambling problem.
That's just it. I don't gamble.
No gambling problem. I don't want to be blamed for ruining your family.
Hey, so about $10 is the most I'm going to bet ever on a race. So don't have to worry about me. All right, thank you everyone for listening to this version of Horse Races Now. We will be back again next week.
All right, see you at the races.
Horse Races Now, the app to follow horse racing at over 1,200 tracks worldwide. View entries and results. Get notifications on your favorite horses, jockeys, trainers, racetracks, and owners. Users set up and revise notifications like live video at the gate, call to post, entries, results replays, etc. Over 1 million downloads. Get the free app on Apple Store or Google Play now. Horse Races Now, the racing app that's always running.